fun.
Yeah, you had a little
Yeah, that was,
double,
Ti
you had a
2
little double
timers.
countdown there.
yeah. I was I was
Computer.
starting to enjoy that music. I'm like, hey, that
It's
sounds
kind
kind
of
of good.
relaxing.
Yeah. uh, it sounded like the start of of a police song or something there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but all good.
all good.
All right, so
So,
Ray, you oh, go ahead.
so
Go
we're
ahead, Nick.
talking about fractional human resources solutions that can help companies in a difficult business environment. I think that's our topic. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's our
It
topic for
is.
today, and we were starting to notice just a lot of activity happening, in the just in articles and news reporting around, you know, what companies are starting to do here in the U.S. With some of the challenges that are happening economically, and things like new tariffs, things like the bond market, starting to to have some challenges. Even the devaluation of the dollar in some cases compared to other currencies. Uh, and I think a lot of U.S. organizations are starting to think about, well, what does this mean for my business? And if you're a business that depends on, as an example, lots of imports, to resell your products, uh, that could have a huge, challenge. We're also starting to see, I think, you know, especially car manufacturers starting to shut down plants. Uh, in Canada, I just spoke with somebody this morning from Canada, saying that in Windsor, Ontario, just on the other side of Detroit, they've already shut down multiple facilities, affecting 7 to 10,000 employees.
Oh, wow.
And that's also kind of happening in the U.S. too. So I think one of the things that we want to kind of put out there is, if you're having some challenges from a business perspective, whether those are good or bad, uh, that you still have to get things done from an HR, for HR, and you may not want to invest in a full-time hire, and that's where you can still get your work done, high quality, with a fractional solution like what we've got. So I think that's kind of the messaging for today.
Spent a lot of time in Windsor gambling and smoking Cuban cigars.
There you go. There you go.
They're
Uh,
all it was all legal in Windsor when I used to work in Detroit. So you just
yeah,
cross the border.
yeah, and it was so interesting because I just spoke with somebody this morning, and a couple of things, but of what's happening between the U.S. and Canada. What the person told me was like, "Hey, we're pissed off. We're pissed off. We're hurt, and the Canadians are basically, making decisions, based on on what's happening, and they're not going to travel to the U.S. They're not buying U.S. products, uh, and guess what? That's all going to impact us as Americans, in the travel sector, tourism sector, and even in consumer packaged goods too, potentially. So we got to get prepared for that.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well,
yeah, but
that 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 and is obviously kind of a wait and see thing.
yeah,
But I think our whole perspective is
yeah.
that we are able to help organizations out who are in difficult environments right now, and
Mhm.
perhaps you have work that needs to be done,
Yep.
but you don't have the capacity to have a full-time team do it anymore. You don't want a full-time team to do it anymore. You have a challenging project that you need help with, for a specific length of time, or you just want to move something off of your plate because you've got a chaotic environment and you're like, yeah, we really don't want to be doing this in house anymore. Let's just move it to somebody else who can focus on it. So I think those are all, good examples of, what we can do to help out organizations.
Yep.
Right.
And I think you're right. I think we're hearing from from companies who are kind of rethinking their strategy on do we want to do this work in house, like you said, or do we want to have an expert do it, uh, at a lower cost and probably higher quality than what we could do ourselves. And that's kind of the model that we have, with the experts that we've got, on project management, on recruiting, compensation and benefits, employee relations, all of those areas, we can put people in, our team in, to help solve problems very, very quickly. And we've got, good examples. I mean, Heather, maybe you want to talk a little bit about the client we just picked up that didn't want to do recruiting, and we're doing it for them. It's a
Mhm.
manufacturing operation, and in a month, we've been able to fill a ton of jobs.
Yeah, and I think, like one thing that you nailed on that I wanted to point out, excuse me, is that, you're going to get a team. It could be two of us, it could be three of us. We have experts in different areas. And so with this client, they're manufacturing. And I think we all know that manufacturing, there's certain level of jobs that are just revolving doors, but they got to get filled. And in just a month, we have filled 10 of those roles.
Yeah,
And these are permanent jobs. These aren't temporary people or contractors. These are permanent roles. And working as a team, we have an excellent process that we use, and that's what we use for any client. We've had several, and I know I've mentioned this before. We've mentioned this before that I don't want to do HR anymore. I probably shouldn't be doing HR. And as we start working with them, they start realizing, yeah, I shouldn't be doing HR. You're a tiny
yep,
company, but now you've grown, and they realize, yeah, this is something that I need your expertise on.
yeah,
And then they're like, I am so glad that we have Thrive to help us
yeah,
out. So you don't know what you don't know until you get Thrive in the door, and then we can really see what's working well and what needs, help.
Well, I think
yep,
the
yeah,
volume of hires that you've done in a short period of time has been great. But I think even more to the point is the process that your team put together, you and your team put together,
Hmm.
has been really great. Where you improve the process immediately that they had, which has been fantastic. And then the other thing is, look, it's been a um, diverse slate of candidates that you've hired for. So we
Hmm.
have done truck drivers, which is really a very hard position to fill, probably one of the hardest positions to fill right now, somebody to drive a truck because it's always so in demand. And then all the way up to, looking for potentially somebody to do people to do a CIO job. So it's been a really wide swath of individuals. And so that's what I think is really remarkable is that we've been able to come in and be the hiring team and just take on really diversified hiring. So I think that makes that's been
Yes.
a great thing that we were able
yeah,
to do.
yeah, yeah,
And even then, this was going to be a short-term project. We need some help. Our recruiter
Yep.
left until we
Don't say it.
hire.
Don't say it. You don't want to jinx yourself.
I'm going to say it because
Oh
a
no.
client said it, but you're doing such a good
Um,
job. We'd like to keep you on long term.
yeah.
And
There you
so,
go. Yeah,
this is moved
touch
from a
wood.
short term to long term.
Touch wood. It continues. I always hate to
I
jinx
believe in
myself.
us. I believe
I
in
do
us.
too,
oh
but
yeah, no, it's awesome.
I
Good.
always,
Yeah.
I always
Yeah,
look for
and we
that
have
one.
we have another really kind of interesting story with another client who, wanted us to hire, a customer success manager for an open role. And with this client, we found some outstanding candidates. They were in a specific, geographic area. That wasn't the easiest place to find people. uh, we did such a good job for them that of the five candidates that we presented and that they interviewed, uh, they didn't want to hire one. They made offers to two of them. So
Mm.
so it was a 2-for-1 deal for them. So because the candidates were so good and they wanted to take advantage of people that were in the market and available. So those are the kinds of things that we could do for our clients. And it may be a tough business environment, but you have to have those needs, and our team can fill them. And not only can we support you from a domestic perspective, we can support you internationally too, because we've got some great experience outside the U.S. borders.
I will tell you challenge. I will tell you that hiring is still a challenge. So,
Yeah,
meaning that if you want somebody that fills all of the needs that you have. Um, and most companies have a long list of capabilities that they want the individual to have. It doesn't happen quick. And so I think there may be a bit of a myth out there that, oh, well, the market is really slow and we can get anybody that we want. And that's not really the case. If they're really, have all the capabilities that you want, it is not an easy slam dunk to find somebody in a short period of time. And so we're working on making sure that that happens for our clients.
Yep. No, exactly. Exactly. And the good news about the abilities that our team brings in, even though you may have challenges, chaos going on, our folks are experienced. They've seen this before. They can come in and get productive quickly and fix the problems and deliver great solutions. So that's the positive of utilizing this approach.
Right. Oh, and oh, go ahead, Jason.
No, go ahead.
No, because I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh.
It went away like that.
It was a really good story, though.
Well, the other one I wanted to talk about is budget, because, for instance, I think we're really cost effective, and I know that that's important right now. We just did a proposal for a client we have not yet gotten, but they're looking at it. But their aha moment or light bulb moment was when we showed them what the cost was by using our salary survey tools for having an in-house person do this work versus us taking it on. And it was roughly a 50 to 60% differential in terms of the cost. And that was really, they knew that, but actually seeing the actual salary survey information in hand was really powerful to them, because we are very budget friendly.
Yeah, and the other part too, I think, is when we do some of the support our clients from a fractional perspective, uh, you know, the care and feeding of your employees is so important. Uh, and I think our team does a great job with that. I think Heather and our operations team are fantastic. Responding to employee questions quickly, fixing problems. You know, every day, we seem to have somebody, you know, at the doctor's office or at the, at a pharmacy that can't get their, insurance to work, and we have to find a solution. So we really do a great job with that, and Heather and her team does a fantastic job.
Yeah, I think that one thing that's come up a couple of times too, and this is what I was thinking of and I forgot, and now I remembered, is coming in as a third party. We are joining your team, but we're not coming in with any predisposed opinions of anything. We're neutral, and we remain that neutral ground for employees to approach if there's any issues or anything else for that matter. And so it's different than having a HR person, a body, with the team versus who you've got this team of experts that can help you, support you, without being in the mix.
Yep. Exactly.
Well, I think one of the things that's important is that we're good at listening. And so I was looking at a poll the other day, just last week, and it asked people to choose from basically 5 different attributes about what is the most important attribute you want people to have in your environment or people that you work with. And the one that got like 70% of the votes out of all the ones that were listed was listening. And so listening is a skill that I think we do really well in terms of trying to understand what's happening in your environment, what's happening with your people, what's happening with your business, and then being in your business and listening and adapting and becoming a true extension of your business. And that's because we listen well.
Yeah, great points. Great points. But yeah, definitely, if you're in the middle of a situation that's difficult, let us know. We'd love to help.
Yes, we would love to help. We love being in the middle of difficult situations.
Exactly.
We love being in the middle of easy situations too. So
yeah, we don't get many of those.
Yeah, don't get many of those, but yeah. So if you got an easy one, throw it our way too.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, Heather, how can folks get get a hold of you?
So they can email heather.simmons@thrivehrconsulting.com, or you can call our office at 1-888-393-3453.
Great.
And a little scroll down at the bottom, you'll see all of our email addresses.
Yeah,
Or just go to thrivehrconsulting.com and you can ask for some help. We'll get your request and we'll get right back to you.
sounds great. All right, guys. Have a great rest of the day.
All
Thank
See you
you.
right.
again next
Talk
week.
later. All right. See you later.
Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.